Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the email automation with UiPath. So when I was going through my comment section, I was having a common comment where people were confused. If I have Outlook, which activity should I use? I don't have the license, but I have an Outlook account. Would I be able to send an email? How do I send an email? With the help of Gmail. How do I send an email? With the help of Outlook account. What is this SMTP? How do you send attachment? If I have multiple attachment, do I need to use attach one by one? And these were the very common questions, and I think that it is important for us to remember that we have all the provisions available in UiPath. It is just depending on your infrastructure that what you exactly have. So this video we are going to talk about what are the different ways of sending an email with attachments, without attachment, or multiple attachments. If I talk about the agenda, we are going to start with the send email activity. We are going to see what is the difference between Outlook and SMTP. We are going to see how do you send an email if Outlook is already installed, what are the settings which are required. Then we are going to see if I don't have the Outlook installed and I still want to use my Outlook account, how do I do that? We are also going to see how do I send an email with help of my Gmail account. And at the last, we are also going to see how all this happen with single or multiple attachments. Okay, so all of this would be our agenda for today. First thing first, whenever we have to send an email with attachments, when I say with attachment, it simply means attaching the files with the email. So we have got two activities. The first activity is send Outlook mail message activity, and the second activity is send SMTP mail message activity. Okay. Now, why there are two activities? By look wise, they both are exactly the same, but the functioning is exactly different. Okay, so first we are going to talk about send Outlook mail message, that how do you attach the file, what are the prerequisite, and what are the things you need to worry upon, and then the same we are going to see with the help of SMTP. I am back into my UiPath studio, and first thing first, let's go ahead and create a new process. Okay, we'll call this process as email with attachments. Best practice, change the description, and I'll simply go here and I click on this button which says create. Okay, so the first activity which we are looking is the Outlook. Okay, if I go to the project, you would notice that I already have the UiPath.mail.activity dependency added in my project. So in case you don't have this dependency, you simply have to go here, right click on it, click on manage. In the all packages, you have to search here UiPath.mail. You will get this, click on install, and then you should have this UiPath.mail.activities. Why this is important? Because all the email activities which are available here are coming only because of this dependency. So if you don't have this dependency, you won't have the email activities. Okay, so first thing first, we need to have these dependencies. Then I'll go to the activities, I'll search here mail. Now when I search mail, you would see that I am getting a lot of options. IMAP, POP3, Outlook, IMAP, right? These are the different ways I can connect to the Outlook. But when it's come to sending of the email, you would notice that I only have two activities. One is the send Outlook mail message, and the other is send SMTP mail message. So now you might have a question that I am using Hotmail, I am using Gmail, I am using Yahoo, right? How do I do that? All of that would be taken care by this guy, which is called send SMTP mail message. Okay, so first let's look at this one, which is called send Outlook mail message. I'll drag and drop it here. Now if you notice the send Outlook mail message activity, it is asking me whom do you want to send an email. So I want to send an email to my email ID mailmukeshkala@gmail.com. Now it is asking me, what is your subject? I am sending the subject is Outlook mail test 001 so that we understand that it is from Outlook activity and this is a first email. Okay. In the body, I would say this is the body. Now this activity is not giving me any error. If I run this activity, it is going to send an email to this, this and this. Now a question arises, whose email ID it is going to use as a sender? So mailmukeshkala@gmail.com is the receiver. Who is the sender? So if I go to the properties, you would notice that I have the attachment option, I have the mail, I have the subject which we have already configured. It is asking for the account, but it is nowhere asking the sender detail, the sender ID, the sender password. Why that is so? Because this is Outlook mail message activity and it take the credential or the sender information from the Outlook which is installed on your computer. So as you can see, I have my Outlook installed on my computer. So whichever account you configure in this Outlook, right? I'm not talking about the web version of Outlook. I am talking about the Outlook application installed on your computer. Same like I have Excel installed, I have Word installed, I have this Outlook installed on my computer. So if I click on it, you would notice that it is opening. And here you can see that I have already the license of this software and it is configured on my laptop. That's why whenever I run this automation, UiPath would be able to send an email to this email ID without much details. Okay, I'll save this, I'll go here and I'll say run the file. Okay, so now if you notice, the program was completed successfully. If I go to the sent items, you would notice that an email is sent out to this one without me providing any details. Now if you notice, this is my Gmail account. See, mailmukeshkala@gmail.com, Outlook mail test 001, and I got the body and I was able to send an email. So this thing works only if you have the Outlook application installed and licensed. Now, similarly, while you are sending the emails, you can also attach the files. So for example, I want to attach the file. So I can click on this button which says attach the file. It is asking me to create the arguments. Now, if you see, by default, I cannot change this and this. I only can change this one. So here in the attach file, you have to specify the path of the document, attachment, whichever you want to send. Okay. So let's say for our use case, I want to send an image. Okay, let's say I want to send some image, happy birthday image maybe. So I have these images which are available, and let's say I want to send this cake image along with the email. So I'll go here, I'll say copy as path, and I am attaching the file. Attach the file, create an input argument, pass the complete path here. It should be the complete path. Okay, and I'll say okay. So this is from Outlook, the test is 002, and in the body I'll mention happy birthday. I'll save this, I'll go here and I'll say run the file. Okay, we are sending a second email from Outlook, but this time with one attachment. Let's go back to the Gmail, and in my Gmail you could see that I have received the Outlook mail 002 happy birthday and the cake image as an attachment. Okay, so that is how you send an attachment with an email. Now this could be a notepad file, this could be a zip file. All you have to do is just come here in the attach file and provide the attachment. Now you might have a question, if I have to attach one more file, what should I do? So I go here and I click on this one which says attach files. I again create on this one which is the direction, and here I again pass the path of the document. It can be anything, right? So let's say this time I am going to attach this Excel employee data. So I'll do a shift right click, copy as path, right? You can just get the complete path, paste it, hit OK, save, go here and simply say run the file. The robot completed in 1 second. To validate, let me go back to my Gmail, and as you can see that now I have got two attachments, the happy birthday cake image and the employee data. Now some of you might be thinking that Mukesh, it is a very tedious task to get all these images attached one by one. What if I have a folder and that folder is having a lot of images? One way is definitely to attach a zip. I can go here, input and attach the zip. But let's say I want to attach all the emails, right? So not all the emails, sorry. Let's say I want to attach all these birthday images 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 to that email. One way is definitely to create the input argument and keep passing it again and again, right? However, there is a better way. If you click on these activities and if you go to the properties, you would see here there is something which is called attachments, which we are already using. Then just below that you have something which is called attachment collection. Now this simply means that if you have a list of files, you can attach all of them by just using this property. Now I'm going to teach you how do you use this property. Okay, so if I keep my mouse here, it is saying that it is an enumerable of string, which means that anything which is, it can be a list of string, it can be an array of string, any string, list, array, you can attach it to it. Okay, so how does that work? So let's say I have a requirement where I want to attach all these images from 1 to 7. All these images are part of this folder which is called the birthday images. Okay, now before this activity, I'll go here and I'll take an assign activity, and in here I want to read all the images of that folder. Now whenever you have to do such operations, you click on this button and you just write a simple expression. I'm saying go to the directory, which is whatever directory, C drive, D drive, and get the files. Directory dot get files. Go to the directory and get the files. Now it is asking me, Mukesh, tell me the path as string. Where is your path? Okay, so let me pass my path. My path is this guy. I'll go here and I'll pass like this. This is string, so I'll put it in double quotes. Okay, directory dot get files. Go to this directory, get all the files from this path, and I'll say save. Now whenever I am doing directory dot get files, UiPath is going to get me all the path of this first path, second path, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Now which kind of variable can I store this? I cannot store it in a single string variable. I need to have something which is enumerable. So whenever we use directory dot get files, we get a array of string, right? So I'm going to go here and I'll say array, and I can say it images. But now you are noticing that I am getting an error. That is because it is asking me that, Mukesh, when I am doing directory dot get files, I will get a string array. So let go to the variables. This is not string. This would be a array of string. I hit OK and the error is gone. Okay, array of string now would have all the path of those images. Okay, I'll save this. I'll put a breakpoint here and let's try to run it in debug mode first and see what we are getting in this variable, right? So I'll go here and I'll say debug the file. Okay, the debugging has started. It is stopped here. Let me go to the locals and in the array of images, you would notice that I am getting all the 7 path one by one. Okay, you can expand it here as well. See, we have this total count of 7. You click on this raw view and you would notice that all the path of those images from 1 to 7 are now in my this variable, which is called array of images. Okay, so I'll stop this. So that means that now my array of images has got all the path of those 7 files. Okay, now I want to attach it. So I'll go to the attach file. I'll just remove all of this because I don't want it now. This is when you want to send a single or 2 or 3 attachments, right? But if you want to send a collection, you click on this, go to the properties, and here you have the attachment collection. Now where is the attachment collection? It is in the array of images. Save this, go here and run the file. Okay, now what would happen whenever I am receiving an email, I would be getting all those images which were in the folder attached to the email. Okay, so we'll just wait for the automation, and yeah, I think it's completed in 1 second. And here, as you can see, I have received this email, and this email has got all the 7 attachment attached to it. Okay, so that is how you send multiple attachment. Now you might have a question that I do have an Outlook account which is @outlook.com, but I don't have the Outlook license. Can I use the Outlook mail message activity? The answer is no. Outlook mail message activity will only work if you have the license to the Outlook. So in case you have an Outlook or a Gmail or any other account and you don't have the license of the Outlook application, you can use the other activity which is known as the SMTP to send an email. Now how do you do that? I'll just go here. I'll create a new sequence. I'll call this send via SMTP and I'll create it. Okay, now whenever we talk about sending the emails via SMTP, I'll go to the activities. I'll search here send, and you can see we have Outlook and then we have the SMTP. I'll drag and drop the SMTP here. And now if you simply notice the difference, okay, I'll just collapse this. See, this is SMTP and this was for Outlook. In my Outlook, there were no detail to put my account details, server and the port. But if you go to SMTP and you click on properties, you would notice it is asking me for the host, server, whose user ID, whose password, what is your secure password and all those things. So that is why Outlook take all of that from the Outlook application which is installed. SMTP does not know whether you are going to use an Outlook account, whether you are going to use a Gmail account. That's why you have to provide all these details. Okay. So let's try to quickly configure this and then we'll see how do you attach also. Okay. So in the two, I'll again send it to my mail ID only. mailmukeshkala@gmail.com. What is the subject? The subject is SMTP send and I'll call it 001. And what is the body? I would say that this is from SMTP. Okay. Now, which account are you going to use to send the email? Who is the sender? So the sender details are always your own Outlook credential or own Gmail credentials. Whenever we are writing any such automation, it is not a good practice to provide the details hard coded here. So what I have done is I have created assets in the orchestrator. So if I go to my orchestrator and if I search here credential, you would notice that all my credentials are available in my orchestrator, including my ServiceNow or Outlook, Gmail, Facebook, email, SAP. all the credential I have stored in my orchestrator so that I don't have to share it to anybody. Okay, so that is a good practice. Fine. So first of all, we are going to use this Outlook account. Okay, and when I say this Outlook account, if you notice that this is not a installed Outlook. Okay, this is my, if you see here, this is a kind of a web. Okay, this is opened on the web. See, you have all these PowerPoint and all, everything is happening on the web. And the account which I am using here is mukeshkala@outlook.com. So let's say I want to use to this account do not have a license, but I still want to use it. So how do I do that? So this would be my sender. Now what is this? This is an Outlook account. We are using the SMTP. So I'll go to Google. In the new tab, I would say Outlook, because that's what I am using. SMTP details, and it would get you this page, pop IMAP setting for SMTP. Click on that. Okay, and you would notice that here you have all the settings which you require. In case you are not familiar how do you read the emails, right? That is what also we have previously discussed, right? How do you use pop IMAP for reading the emails? I have posted the link in the description for your reference. Please watch that in case you want to see how do you read the emails. Okay, now here pop IMAP SMTP. I am interested in the SMTP. So what is the SMTP server name for Outlook? It is SMTP mail outlook.com. Copy this, take it back to the activity, go to the properties. This is your server. I'll paste the server here, smtp mail.outlook.com. Now what is the port? Port is 587. So in the port you will pass 587. Okay, now this guy understand that yes, I have to use Outlook account, but whose Outlook account? I want to use this Outlook account, mukeshkala@outlook.com. So till the time I do not provide the password for mukeshkala@outlook.com, this activity won't work, right? So you need to provide that information in the email and in the password. So in the email you are going to specify your account, which is, let's say, mukesh@outlook.com, and then your actual password, right? However, best practice says this password should be in the assets, right? So if you see here in my orchestrator, I have created my Outlook credential. I can go here, edit, and you can see Outlook credential mukeshkala@outlook.com, and I have saved my password so that I don't have to share it to anybody. Okay, the other way is, in future if my password changes, I simply update this asset. How do you create an asset? You go to your respective folder, click on the add asset activity, create a new asset, provide the asset name, the type would be credential, provide the value and hit create. So now in future whenever my Outlook credential changes, I simply update this asset, no change in the automation. So nothing hard coded. I'll copy this and I'll use this asset, right? So now to get the asset, you have something which is called asset. I'll use an activity called get credential, drag and drop it here, which is the folder. So if you see in this drop down, admin folder. Why admin folder? That is where I created this asset, right? So I'm saying here I want to get it from the admin folder. What is the asset name? It will show you all the asset name whichever you have. So I can simply use my Outlook credentials. That's it. I'll go to the properties, username. I can hit Ctrl+K and I will say that this is my username, and the password I'll hit Ctrl+K and I'll create a variable for password. Okay, so in the get credential I am reading my Outlook username and password from the orchestrator. Okay, now in case you are not connected to the orchestrator, you can directly hard code the values here, which is again not recommended. Okay, so now here I'll provide my username, which is mukeshkala@outlook.com, and my password which is my actual password. Now this activity understand now that okay, I have to use the Outlook account, I have to use Mukesh Kala Outlook account, this is his password, and I have to send an email to this account, right? So send SMTP001 and we are sending it to mailmukeshkala@gmail.com. I'll save this, go here and run the file. The automation started. Okay, let's just wait for this to complete. In the output, I can see it completed in 10 seconds. In my Outlook account, if I go to the sent items, you would notice that here it is, right? Send SMTP001. This is from the Outlook account and we have sent it to @gmail.com. In my Gmail, I have received the same SMTP001. This is from SMTP. So that is how you use your Outlook account to send an email if you do not have the license. Okay. Now, how do you use the attachment? So if I go to the properties, see, the same properties are available here as well. Okay. So you can use this one, which is called attach file, create an argument, pass the path, it will send an email. Or you can simply use this approach, right, which we used in the previous one, directory.getFiles, get all the files and attach it in this one, which is called attachment collection. This is exactly the same. Okay, so we are not spending much time here, but you need to remember that these options are available for you. Okay, so that is how you send an email if you have an Outlook account, but you do not have the Outlook license. The third thing comes in picture that I want to send an email but via my Gmail account. How do I do that? And I want to attach some of the attachments. So again, I'll go here, I'll create a new sequence. I'll call this as Gmail SMTP and I'll create it. Okay. Again, the same concept, right? We are going to use the SMTP because we are not using Outlook. Now Gmail is again going to ask you what is the port, what is the server, whose email ID, whose password. But the thing with Gmail you need to remember is that Gmail does not allow you to use your actual password. Okay, so in my send SMTP, when I was using my Outlook account here, Outlook credential, these are my actual Outlook account. However, whenever we automate with Gmail, Gmail do not give you permission to use your actual Gmail password. So let's say your actual Gmail password is 12345. Gmail will not allow you to use that in the SMTP. However, Gmail gives you an option to generate the app password, right? So for app, you get a different password. And in the previous videos of this series where we have seen that how do you generate the app password for the Gmail, right? So this is the video which is already available on the channel. I have posted the link in the description. You would get in the I button at the top that how do you use Gmail to generate these credentials, right? So two subject body is exactly the same. The only difference which should come is in the server port. So how do you get the server and port? I simply go back again to Google and I'll say SMTP for Gmail and I'll say enter, and you should get it at the top that smtp.gmail.com and the port is this one 587, right? So in your automation, wherever I was using smtp.outlook, now I would use smtp.gmail, I'll use the port and the username and the password will again get it from the orchestrator. But again I am repeating, in my orchestrator or whenever you are passing the password, Gmail would require an app password and that is what you have to get it. Okay. Now whenever you are using Gmail, the concept is exactly the same. Okay. Now I will quickly configure this property. So I am saying that now I am going to use the Gmail account. 587 is my port for Gmail. Okay, whom do you want to send an email? So let's say I want to send it to my Outlook account now. What is the subject? I would say that this is SMTP Gmail 001. What is the body? I would say this is from Gmail. Okay. Then the same concept, you require username and the password. So I'll go to the activities. Use an activity called get credential. Which folder? I have used my Gmail in my admin folder, so I can show it to you guys here. In my assets, I go here and I say Gmail. Sorry, my bad. Gmail. So Gmail credential for this account, tutorials by Mukeshkala. If I go here and I edit, you would notice that I am using my Gmail account, which is called tutorialsbymukeshkala@gmail.com, and this password is my app password. Again, I am repeating, this is not my actual Gmail password, this is my app password. How do you generate it? Please watch the video. Okay. So now I'll just copy this name of the asset, which is Gmail_credential. Go back here, admin folder. Which credential you are interested in? I am interested in my Gmail credential. And now the output of this is created in this variable. Okay, now one more interesting thing. I am using 2023 update of UiPath, which you do not need to create the variables. So whenever you are using 23.2, in the previous example, I created the variable and then I saved username and password and then I was doing it, right? Here, if you notice, UiPath has automatically created the variables for me, which are not actually created, but you can use it. So if you see here, robot generated username, robot generated password. In your send SMTP, just go to the properties. In my email, one way was to create the variable. Other way is click on this plus button, say use variable, and from the Gmail username, the secure password, from the use variable, password. So I'll hit Ctrl+S. You would notice that in the variables, those two variables are automatically generated, right? So that is again one more interesting thing which comes with this version. Okay. I'll go to the properties. Okay, so here you can see I have messed up the port and server. So this would be the server and port is 587, right? I have made it upside down. Okay. Now, if everything's work well, I should able to receive an email on mukeshkala@outlook.com from my Gmail account. I'll go here and I'll say run the file. The automation is running and in the output it's completed in 8 seconds. Let me go back to my Outlook. Okay, this is my Outlook account and you can see tutorials by mukeshkala@gmail.com had sent you an email with this and this, right? But if you notice, I have not used my Gmail actual password, I have used my app password. Okay, now again the same concept here. If you want to send Gmail with the help of attachment, you click on this button which is called attach the files and you have the same properties here, right? So I'll leave this for your implementation. Okay, so that is all for this video. Let's have a quick recap. Okay, so first thing first, whenever you have the Outlook installed on your computer, you can use the send Outlook mail message activity. Send Outlook mail message activity does not ask you for the credential, username and all, because it take from the Outlook which is installed on your computer and it should be licensed. Okay, so that was send Outlook mail message. Next, let's say you have an Outlook account but you don't have the license. In that case, you cannot use the Outlook mail message activity. In that case, you have to use this one which is called SMTP mail message, send SMTP mail message, and here you need to provide the Outlook server, the Outlook port and your Outlook credential. When it comes to Outlook, you can use your actual password which you are using for Outlook. Best practice, this should be in the credential asset, no hard coding. Okay, ideally all of this also should be in the assets or in the config file, but this is important. The third variance come that I don't have Outlook account at all and I want to use my Gmail. So again, you can use the send SMTP mail message. The settings exactly are the same. The only thing you need to remember is Gmail does not allow you to use your actual password. So you have to generate an app password, which we have already covered in one of the previous videos, right? And for all of these activities, you have this option which is called attachments, where you can attach all the attachments one by one, or you can use this guy which is called attachment collection. Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. I would appreciate your feedback on the video and tell me in the comments what would be the next topic or next video you want to see. So with that, I would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.